My name is Will, and I've been making games for 13 years. I've launched a ton of games in AAA, Indie, MMO, PS4, Xbox, VR, and mobile. What is Funner Games? I've always wanted to start a studio. For now, it's just a side thing. I have 3 projects that are V-Slice, 2 of which I'm pitching to publishers. For now, Tamzin Twins seems like the most promising, so I'll be focusing on that one. So for anybody that doesn't know what a V-Slice is a vertical slice of our game Pi. So it basically gives you an idea of what kind of systems and features the game will be in, but without building 50 levels, just one level usually. Tamzin Twins V-Slice, for example, is my tutorial area, and a few levels after it. The other levels in the game are mostly done, but I've been focusing on the first few levels so that the V-Slice is a good representation of the level of quality that we want the game to be at. And, usually you lock off to make sure that they don't get out of the V-Slice area. A lot of game companies will do a V-Slice in order to find out how fast they can make the game because, maybe the game is unique in some regard and they need to get a scale of how fast they can create polished content because making a bunch of levels really quickly and throwing in some first iteration art is, usually pretty quick, but getting all that stuff to a final and super polished pass usually takes a lot more time. So polishing is as someone called it today to me, the second 90% of a game. So a V-Slice will give you a good idea of, okay, it took us this long to make this much content, and now we know that we have this kind of velocity, and then you can kind of get an idea of how fast you can launch this game. So Tamzin Twins is the story of 2 evil twin girls who have spent their lives working for the malicious Tyrek Tefari, which is an awesome name. One day he casts them aside and nearly kills them both. They survive the attack and vow revenge on their former leader, no matter what army or fortress is in their way. On their path to revenge, Enya and Kyra will discover what it means to be leaders, to be chivalrous, and how to be queens. So it's basically just a, bad guys figure out how to be good story. So it's a Diablo-style action RPG game with heavy emphasis on co-op, split screen, 2 distinct characters with a bunch of story. Now you can play it single player, and the other character just kind of gets a dumb AI, which is fine, but we want to try to encourage the players to play it together, because there's a lot of people that have their couch co-op partner or whatever. One of the more unique things about the game, besides the story, is the crazy sword-throwing combat. Since the main characters lose their ability to cast their deadly spells, they get to focus more on sword expertise. As you fight, you'll have 4 swords on you. You can press a button to throw your current sword. You can throw out all 4, so throw them out one at a time, and they'll land and do special things. And while they're stuck on the ground, they'll, some of them can be a turret, or maybe they'll do more damage, maybe they'll slow down the enemies. You can press another button to recall those swords. And those swords, they do damage when they're flying towards the enemy, obviously, and they can also be upgraded to do damage on the way back. And they can also be upgraded so that, you can you can kind of punch one as it's coming back to you and just kind of do a boomerang thing. So things get a little crazy, and it's easy to pick up and difficult to master when it comes to the sword combat. You still relearn some spells, that's a spoiler, but they have pretty long cooldowns, so usually you want to save those for the bosses and whatnot. Join me on this devlog journey as we make a bunch of mistakes, shed some tears, break some hearts, and maybe make some games. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, and if you want to support me, there's a bunch of random junk on screen that you can just go down the list and hit all the checkboxes.